Hello and welcome to another edition of Pulp Picks. My name is Patrick.
I'm Fritz.
And we're here to give you this week's reading recommendations on New Comic Book Day, post-free Comic Book Day. Mm-hmm. What a crazy wild ride that was.
Yeah.
It was amazing. But we'll get into that a little bit later. Let's dive right into what did you like? What did you like this week, Fritz? I couldn't decide. What did you like or what did you love? What did you love?
Oh, I thought you were trying to be Australian there for a second.
No. No, I'm just having a stroke.
Well, I picked If Destruction Be Our Lot, the new book from Image by two Rosenbergs this time. We've got Matthew Rosenberg, who's done a bunch of books at Image, Marvel, I think some DC too. Yep. And then with him, we've got Mark Elijah, which I don't know if that's supposed to be his brother or something.
I don't know.
He's also a Rosenberg, so...
So Matthew Rosenberg did What's the Furthest Place from Here, yeah?
Yes, yeah, he did that.
That was a really popular book at our location.
Yeah, I think he's had a couple other things come up here. Didn't he do...
he had one that came out a couple years ago, too.
Yeah, I think he's done like some X-Men stuff over at Marvel in the past. Yeah, he's one of those guys where like, I don't know that he's ever had like that real like kind of like big breakout hit like some other... primarily indie creators, but he's always like got something that people are talking about that people are interested in. And yeah, this one, I think this is the first one I've really gotten on the ground floor for stuff when it's coming out. And yeah, no, I definitely get why people like his stuff. So the premise of this is basically at some point within like the last, it's kind of unclear to a certain extent because they kind of like keep giving like different like dates. But sometime within, like, possibly the last, like, 80-ish years, something happened and humanity got all wiped out. They got, like, taken away by something or other. Oh. And all these, like, different kinds of robots and computer systems that were existing at that point have just kind of spent the rest of that time just going about their business. And our main character, if the title couldn't give it away, is an animatronic Abraham Lincoln robot. Who half the time just kind of like glitches out and starts like doing his like speeches like 7 years, like all that kind of, and all the robots pretty much all the other robots just hate him. Like they're just like, oh, well, yeah, they like because he's always constantly talking about stuff they don't care about. He looks like a human, so they're just like, you look like those things we didn't like having around. Like, so he's just kind of like trying to live his best life in a world that doesn't really like him. He wants kind of like, he misses people, which is kind of unfortunate considering they just don't seem to be around anymore. No one else wants them around even if they were. Sure. He's got a couple friends. There's like a little breakfast robot that doesn't seem to be all there. It's constantly asking people for meals even though they're all robots so they don't like want food.
Oh, it doesn't have a purpose anymore. Yeah. So sad.
He's got another friend that's just a bus, and the bus is constantly just following its route even though there's no one getting on or riding because... there's no people. There's like, right, and that's kind of part of one of the big things with this book is trying to figure out like what do you do when your purpose technically has no meaning, but you also don't really have any way to like go outside of that. Like what is your life at that point?
Man, this sounds like it might be a little too close to home for me.
Well, no, I did think about it because like obviously, listen, we love working here. This is like a dream come true, but also like it's still a job. It's still kind of like wear on you, and just what happens when there's a certain level of just like this is just kind of like the rest of your life forever now.
Yeah.
And despite how dour that all sounds, it's also a very funny book. Like, I mean, again, your main character is an Abraham Lincoln animatronic, which is just great. And he's constantly, like, trying to be, like, reasonable, and all these other robots are just like, shut up, we're having this conversation. Like, it's really good. And, like, as the book goes, we kind of get to it's one of those things where every time you learn something about this world, it kind of feels like there's two more questions that come up. It's just like, oh, there's kind of these different like groups. There's these kind of like scavenger ones that, since they're kind of in decay because there's no one to really maintain the robots anymore, they just kind of like cannibalize each other. Then there's like, what are these weird things? I'm not going to describe them too much, but there's these weird things that seem to eat other robots that I don't know if they're robots. They're they're really hard to describe, even if I did try to get into it.
Okay.
The city there appears to be in some kind of like enclosure almost, and what is outside there is kind of like unclear. We get a glimpse of it, but as to what it is exactly. And I mentioned before, there's the whole thing of the time in terms of like how long it's been since humanity disappeared is also like they kind of get into there might be a reason why that time doesn't seem clear between like conversations with different characters.
Sure.
And yeah, no, it's just a very like I mean this in the best way possible. This feels like the first episode of some kind of like prestige sci-fi drama on like HBO or something like that. But like at the same time, not in a way where like there's definitely comics where you can tell like, oh, this is a pitch for a movie or a show kind of thing. This doesn't feel like that. It just has that same kind of vibe in terms of just how everything is being presented to you.
Very nice.
And then, also, I should mention, obviously, being a comic, Annie McDonald. Art in here is gorgeous. The fact that most of your cast are just like expressionless robots and you can still just really convey their emotions really well. Is really well done. Yeah, I'm excited. I totally get all the hype around Rosenberg for a lot of people. I'm definitely excited to see where this one goes, especially considering there's a lot being set up here. There's a lot of questions being posited that I don't know necessarily have easy answers.
Sure.
And those are some of the best questions to get answers for.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially if you're going to, delve into a post-apocalyptic robot-run world where, what is their purpose now?
Yeah.
Sad. All right, well, I went with Absolute Superman number 19. I had to look at the issue number there. Okay, so Jason Aaron on this book, approaching we're just over the 1.5 year mark. And, when the Absolute line got announced, I was skeptically optimistic, I guess. But one of the writers on there was one where I was like, oh man, Jason Aaron on Superman, I don't know how I feel about that. And then very quickly, all my worries disappeared because this book has been really good. And that can happen, though, and then the wheels can fall off, and you can start running into, now this book is dragging, and it's getting boring, and whatever. Not the case, because we now have King Shazam, who has shown up, and, so far looks to be considerably more powerful than Superman in this universe. And we got the origin story
in the previous issue.
I was trying to remember if that was 2 issues ago, but no. Just that's how much has been crammed into these 2 issues. So we got the origin, and then basically he'd been locked up for 3,000 years since ancient Egypt, where he was pharaoh for a very short period of time. And in this version, he's created by the Brainiacs, who were apparently on Earth 3,000 years ago.
Yeah, one of the things I found most interesting about this run so far is that the ways it keeps seeding in how the Brainiacs throughout the universe have been inserting themselves into these situations and as to whatever their goal is. Yeah. Because the main Brainiac that we've been dealing with is very much separate from any of the things that the other ones have been doing. Yeah. And how those things might come into conflict with each other at some point is going to be very interesting what happens there.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because, the timeline and King Shazam's history with the Brainiacs, and then you've got Ra's al Ghul and his history with a particular Brainiac is maybe loosely connected at most, because it looks like the Brainiacs abandoned Earth for a while in between those things.
It definitely feels like there's a lot of threads that are being kind of if you weren't looking for a pattern, you would think they're just kind of spinning something in this corner, spinning something in that corner, but are very much probably going to come together in some kind of tapestry
cat's cradle or something, where it all just it looks like nonsense, and then all of a sudden you've got something. So also there's a prophecy and Ted Adam, King Shazam, believes that prophecy is about him. But that prophecy definitely also sounds like, the titular character here as well, you know. And I do think that it's there were a number of different things. One, the art on this continues to be gorgeous, and it gets this sense of speed and motion, which you think Flash, but Superman as well, and Shazam in this one move at speeds that are just bonkers.
I think there's a point where like Superman gets in and he's just like, and then he woke up in Wyoming. Wasn't really sure how he got there so quickly.
Yeah, exactly. We also have Steel, who also got introduced last issue, but he's also here.
I really like this version of Steel.
Me too, and we get just a little snippet of backstory for him, but it was a way to really connect with him on a personal level. So yeah, I really enjoy his character. I'm looking to see how that goes. But it seems like King Shazam was probably a psycho to begin with, but then being locked away for 3,000 years.
It'll definitely put a crick in your neck.
Yeah. How is this all going to go down? And then we also have, another character reappear to kind of say, hey, told you so. So that's going to be, who also has ties to Egypt and whatever. So it's going to be very cool to see how this is leading up to a big throwdown.
Yeah, that next issue looks like it's just going to be a giant brawl.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to remember, are they doing 5-issue arcs in the graphic novels or 6?
I think it depends on how long the arc goes.
Sure.
Because if it's like a shorter one, they'll have, because there's usually those kind of like in-between issue stories.
Yeah, I'm just trying to, because, if it's 5, then this would be the end of 4. But it feels like it's going to take a couple issues to wrap this one up. But maybe it'll just be a giant throwdown, and there'll be some, major...
It's at least going into July, so we got a couple more issues.
For this story arc?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So somewhere must have gone to 6 at least once, or this one. All right, well, let's get on to our top pick, and this one has a little bit of an asterisk by it, in that there's 2 versions that you can pick up.
So we have the Energon Universe 2026 special. And if you can't tell here from the cover, our main story is about Mask.
Never heard of it.
I'll be honest. I've talked about this a bit with I don't really, when it comes to the Energon universe stuff, obviously I love Transformers. I don't in general I'm not super attached to G.I. Joe,
right.
But I've been really enjoying this current run. Mask is one of those ones where I know it exists and was a thing, and have even we've even had a toy or two come through the store.
Right, yeah.
But that is pretty much the end, the beginning and end in terms of what I know and what I care about Mask. And this just this preview has me going this book's going to be fun.
Yeah. So I literally said to myself after finishing this, dang it, they're making me care about a Mask book. I'm going to have to read this. And, I grew up right in the heart of the era where Mask would have been targeted towards me. And it was kind of one of those, hey, we know that G.I. Joe and Transformers aren't going to last forever. What if we did them kind of together-ish? And also we want to save money, so we're going to do it on a smaller scale, which... Anytime that you get away from that, the scale of
the 3 3/4,
the 3 3/4 G.I. Joe, Star Wars size figures, that's already going to be a problem. But the focus with Mask was on the vehicles a lot, so I'm sure that they were just trying to make that work. So even for somebody who grew up in the heart of that attempt the first time around, it only hit with a handful of kids. It was a cool concept, but it was kind of one of those where it was it's not the same size as my Transformers.
Yeah.
The vehicles are bigger and it's smaller than all my G.I. Joe stuff. It doesn't really work.
Yeah.
But this storytelling does for Mask, and you've got to kind of weave between what's going on with G.I. Joe, what's going on with Transformers, and where Matt Tracker and company have been kind of already introduced, and figure out okay, so where do they fit in this world so that they can have their own story? And that's really what this opening, the opening story in this anthology tells.
And it does a really good job. Like you're saying, we get a good feel for our good guys, our bad guys, the art, I'm a big fan of Pipar's stuff. He did the Petrolhead book a couple years ago that I had up here. And then Dan Waters, who he's done some stuff before with the Energon universe. He did the Destro miniseries a little while back. He's done a bunch of other stuff at mostly like DC. He did the Dark Patterns Batman book. He's on Nightwing right now. He's done a bunch of other like indie stuff. Yeah. Just one of my current favorite writers. So the fact that you were tossing two of my favorite guys at a thing that like in a vacuum would be like, it's just like, okay, let's check this out. And yeah, it doesn't disappoint at all.
All right, well, 2 weeks in a row of technical difficulties. Turns out that my procrastinating on cleaning up storage on all devices is just ruining my week. So, all right, so that was the Energon Universe special that we cut off a little bit of it, but whatever. It's good, check it out. And there's two versions of it. There's the paid version and there's the free comic book day version of it, which... leads us to Free Comic Book Day. Yeah. And
also, if you were here for Free Comic Book Day, you may have seen we finally have issue 2 of Broken Trident in here. Yep. From one of our local creatives and regular here at the store. Yep. And it's just super cool to get to see people actually, as someone who someday would also maybe like to make a comic, it's cool to get to see someone actually make something that they've been wanting to make for a long time like this.
Yeah, and it's totally self-initiated, and it was a Kickstarter thing to be able to fund and be able to get the prints for it. And my understanding is that Dave, the creator of the concept and the story here, was able to sell quite a few copies. In fact, he said it was better than the previous year, which makes sense because this was a brand new issue as opposed to the previous year he was selling issues of number 1, which had been out for a little while. Yeah. But we also had Vincent here was selling prints, and then he also had a drawing for a couple limited edition prints. And then we had Ziller and Tyler here that were doing their custom 3D print, custom painted 3D print models. So, and I know that the next one that they're working on is a giant absolute Batman that they're going to do. So watch for that because that was kind of the launch of, hey, we're doing this new collaboration where we're selling the product for them. One of them's printing it, one of them's painting it, and it's going to be something that you can only get here. So it's very cool, so look forward to that. We had a line of like 40 plus people out the door before we opened, and after that, for the next 3-4 hours, it didn't slow down at all. It was a constant throng of people. Thank you to everybody who came out for Free Comic Book Day. It was amazing. And I know that we say this every year, but this year was the best one that we've had so far. And we already have big plans to make next year even bigger. If you missed out on Free Comic Book Day, we still have copies of Broken Trident. We still have Vincent's prints. We are stocking up on a lot of the Tyler and Ziller 3D models, the custom painted 3D models. But we also have plenty of copies of the Free Comic Book Day free books to give away. So if there are any of those issues that you were looking for, stop on in because we've got a bunch of them. We really made an effort not to run out this year, and we'll have them for quite a while.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, so thank you to everybody, staff and customers that were involved in Free Comic Book Day. It was a massive success. So, all right, well, we do this every single week because we get to read comic books for a living. We do pay for them. Yeah. They're not free for us. But it's a pretty good gig if you can get it. And we like to share our thoughts with you so that you can make informed decisions or disagree with us, because there's plenty of that too. Be sure to like, follow, comment, share, subscribe, and get on into your local comic book shop to pick up comics. If it's us, fantastic. If it's somebody else, that's great too, because supporting local comic shops, no matter where you're at, is important. We will be back next week with more Pulp Picks. Until then, enjoy the reading. Maybe I can't see because my glasses are dirty. What do you think?
They could probably use their wipe down.
Said like a true glasses wearer.
I had to do mine this morning.
Yeah.
It's just that one. It's always just like that one speck that'll show up and just like, well, I guess I just have to clean the whole thing now.
I must wake up in the middle of the night and just like bleh, and drool on them and stuff because they're clean when I'm reading at night.
Like they sit on my face. I don't touch the thing at all, and I will still constantly be like, "Oh, there's smudges on it.
Yeah.
Nothing is touching the glass. How?
How does it happen?
Like,
I have no idea.
I don't know. I know
Gremlins.
one of my cats likes to like go near my nightstand where I keep them, and as far as I'm aware, he's never touched them. And again, he's a cat. It's not like he can like.
There would be those little, T-shaped kitty nose prints on them. If he
I
was
mean,
missing.
more and more likely knowing him, he would just find something plastic in my room to chew on because that's what he likes to do. But